magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember, always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, yes, power. Yes. I am love, wisdom. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Master. Yes. I am. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Yes. I am. Say to yourself. Yes. I am protected. Yes. Yes. I am. Master. I am relaxing.
Yo,
Peace, everyone.
Brother Abdullah, you got a hot show tonight. My co-host Laji's on, and the one sister's going to be on. So go ahead and rock the show, man. My brother Cosmo L, it was a pleasure you being at Nicholas. Everybody's still talking about you, bro. The amazing presentation you did. So Abdullah, congratulations. Knock the ball out the park, all y'all. Islam.
Infinite gratitude.
Islam. I thought you were going to stay on with us. Hank,
Yeah,
you going to
I
stay?
am. Because I got to keep an eye on everything.
I
I'm
got
gonna
you.
go backstage because I got to give this brother room like James Brown on the wooden stage of Apollo.
All right. Once again, man, Brother Hank, man, I greatly appreciate you, man. This is but the 14th month. On the Moorish Monday as the host. Thank you for offering me this platform. We have a special guest in the house, in the building, Grand Sheik Cosmo Ill. I'm so excited. Brother Hank said that he called me yesterday and this morning. He called me yesterday while he was with you, Cosmo, Brother Grand Sheik, that your presentation yesterday at Nicholas Bookstore was lit. You know, so he said, you're going to have a wonderful show tonight. Tomorrow, Abdullah, which is now, we are now in the show. So I have a Grand Sheik, National Grand Sheik, Cosmo Ill. The day's presentation is titled Great Divide, Uniting the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Where do we go from here?
In the
Nation
spirit of
building.
aloha.
All right, so
aloha. Laji, this is, oh, I'm sorry, Brother Abdullah. Laji,
yeah,
this brother right here is living
introduce to, yes.
Abdullah, pleasure to meet you.
Yes, pleasure, brother, always.
Pleasure to meet you. Sheikh Cosmo L, pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, beloved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother Grand Sheik, I want you to tell the audience, you know, about who you are, you know, before we delve into the topic.
All right.
Give us some of your background.
Islam, peace and love. I like to rise high, giving all praise due to Allah. Give honor to my illustrious and industrious forefathers, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Noble Drew Ali. We honor our true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. Peace on earth, goodwill to all humanity. Peace and love. Before I delve into some of my background, I'd like to extend honors to you, Brother Abdullah Bey, and Brother Ankh for extending this platform to self, extending this platform and allowing me to reach your viewers. So I want to give honors to you for that, and all the love that I received last night was so it was heartwarming, and made me really feel at home. So I appreciate all of that, and I appreciate being able to come on this platform today. Cosmo Ill is my writer name, my pen name, so to speak, and I'm actually known amongst Moors as National Grand Sheikh Nathaniel Booth Ill. I was born in or raised, I should say, in Long Beach, California. Half of my life, I moved to the greater Los Angeles area. And then I also moved to Oakland, California before I and my family took a trip to be in Hawaii. Um, I came into the Moorish Divine and National movement at a very early age. I was into hip hop, and I was exposed to consciousness in the hip hop arena. You know, listening to the greats and hearing the speeches of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, and listening to the Last Poets and Khalid Muhammad and even Farrakhan speeches. So I became interested at a very early age, being that I was an MC, and I listened to these types of conscious hip hop. It was that put me on the path, which eventually landed me in Moorish science. I studied Islam at an early age and became a Muslim. But while being a Muslim, I realized that it didn't address some of the identity issues that affected our people. And I was introduced to a brother who was also a Muslim but was studying Moorish science. I was 15 at the time, still in high school. And back then, you know, when we came in, it wasn't internet and all that stuff. You know, if you wanted to study and you wanted to learn, you had to go to the library. You couldn't just download a Circle 7, you know, Holy Quran and Moorish Science Temple of America. So in the school I was in, we had to memorize at least 7 lessons out of the Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America, before we even seen the whole Quran. And once we did that, we received our Quran, we received our fairs, and we were now in position to begin to really study self and take positions in the circle, in the science circle. So at an early age, I went to Long Beach Polytechnic High School, and in the 11th grade, I founded the Moorish Chess Club. And it's probably the only Moorish American high school organization in the country, perhaps in history. And so from there, I end up joining, as moving on to college, the Black Student Union, and became the president of the Black Student Union at Los Angeles City College. And while there, of course, I was already a Moorish American, and it was my goal to teach our people. It's always been my goal to not just be inside the temple, but go where our people are that need the knowledge. And so I taught more science in the Black Student Union. I went to El Camino College and became the president of the Pan-African Student Union there, and did the same thing. You know, during Black History Month, we had Grand Sheiks and members of the temple. We had indigenous brothers and sisters that would come down and expose our brothers and sisters to, you know, the greater knowledge rather than just what the usual was in those days. So as I begin to progress on my journey, I eventually joined the Moorish Science Temple of America, and moved from the science circle to the actual Moorish Science Temple of America. I didn't join in the very beginning because, you know, quite Moorishly, I was off put by some of the attitudes and the egos that existed in the temple. And, you know, we were doing fine already without it. However, a time came in Los Angeles where Moors were talking about unity. And my Grand Sheik at the time had assigned me to help and aid and assist one of the temples out there, Temple 101, that was under Victor Taylor Ill at the time. And so there, I met Grand Sheik Shahid Ali Ill, who appointed me Grand Sheik. That was the Grand Sheik that appointed me Grand Sheik. He was official Grand Sheik whose lineage and genealogy was traced back to Chicago. And so from there, I moved up north, and that's when I began to open up a temple of my own, so to speak, because it can never be my own. And there we put in a lot of work, charitable work, and just uplifted fallen humanity. Time came for us to me and my family, to move from the temple and leave the Grand Sheik and that was in charge, leave them there and move to Hawaii, and to help develop a Moorish village that is beginning to bloom out there. And so I'll leave it right there because I'm sure we'll go more into the Moorish village and some of the things that I just introduced to you all.
Yeah, I'll ask you questions as we go along about the Moorish village, and we'll tie it into what what you're doing and what you discuss. All right.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So you're yesterday you had a great presentation. As Hank told me yesterday, it was lit, and you're going to bring in some of the points that you raised yesterday during your presentation, during this presentation.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is it the same title as today's presentation? What was the title yesterday, Grand Sheik?
So yesterday was actually a book signing event and meet and greet. So what I did was I had a couple of tables, one with my books and one
Mm-hmm.
with my artists and jewelry. And so before I began to actually sign and sell books, or sign books that people had brought with them to be signed, what I did was I just kind of went through some of the literature that I had there and gave some commentary on what was contained within the various books that also align and with some of the political, social, and economic issues that face the
Mm-hmm.
community today. And so I'll be hitting some of those points and showing a couple of those books. It won't be as extensive because that was a 3-hour presentation, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my best to condense it to about maybe 10 minutes.
Well, we got more time than that.
All
All
right.
right. So once again, today's topic for those who are just joining us, I have National Grand Sheik Cosmo Ill as my wonderful guest this evening. Great Divide, the title for today's presentation, Great Divide, Uniting the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Where do we go from here? Nation building. So what is some of the points you raised yesterday and points in your book regarding today's topic of dealing with nation building?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go into that?
All right. Well, the topics in the book weren't necessarily on the nation building side. They kind of
Mm-hmm.
lead up to that a little bit. If I'm to start there, then where I would start with is a more general, some more general concepts, being that as I begin to write books, my purpose was mainly to write books for people outside of the temple that had no knowledge of what was being taught in the temple, no knowledge of nationality or anything like that, so that our people could begin to understand the socioeconomic and political condition that they were in. Because in order to nation build, we have to first deal with the condition that our people are in under the chattel terms of Negro, Black, colored, Ethiopian, Afram, Afro, chocolate, peanut butter color, and a host of other names and principles that delude to slavery and that keep us divided. And so I'll just pull up one of the main books that kind of help with that subject is this book. I wrote this book, Blackamoor, in probably 2014. And the reason I wrote this book is because this is the title, Blackamoor, but Blackamoor is a term that our people were known as before they came into the actual black term. It was used extensively. And prior to that, we were known as Moors. I went into the fact that when you look in the dictionaries today, you're going to see Arab, Berber, mix, and a lot of definitions that deal with Moor. But when you go back in time, not too long ago, you'll find out that these definitions came into being, say, around the 1920s. And before that, it was pertaining towards melanated people on these shores and also the shores of Africa and also around the world, like in the Philippines, where the term they're known as Moors, Moro, which is Spanish.
Modals.
So I said that this term illustrates the linguistic genocide better than any other term, because first we were Moor, then we were Blackamoor, now we're just Black, right? And I wrote that the subtitle was bridging the gap between Black and Moor, because when you begin to start telling our people, hey, we're Moors and not Black, they say, well, they have no frame of reference for that. It's not phonologically even similar to Black, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. So this word is a bridge word to show them that, hey, it was associated with Black. And it illustrates the linguistic genocide better than any other term. So after getting our people to begin to know that they're Moors and that they have a great history beyond where Black can take them, and I'll just, since we're dealing with the nation building side, I'll just move on to the Moorish divine and national side. I started to deal with some of the concepts of understanding what Prophet Noble Ali actually brought. What does the Moorish Science Temple of America really represent? And what is the nation? Because we say nation building, and everyone has kind of a different definition of what the nation is and what that would look like. So I just basically first understanding what a nation is. And a lot of people will say the Moorish Science Temple of America is a nation within a nation, and so on and so forth. Well, I like to make the distinction that, and of course, Black Law's Dictionary edition 2 gives a good definition of nation, and I think it's kind of skipped over a lot of times because, and you can pretty much Google that; it'll come up. The first definition of nation is the people, a people. That's what the nation is. When you look at the Black's Law Dictionary, it says a people, and then it says, or an aggregate of men organized under law and, so on and so forth. But a lot of people skip over the people part, and they go right to the aggregate of men and same locale of living around each other and sharing the same language and a cultural history. So I think it's important to point out that first, the nation is the people. And by that definition of alone, we're a nation within a nation. Now, if we move to the aggregate of men that organize themselves and women that organize themselves, speak a common language and live around each other, this is where the Moorish Science Temple of America comes in, which is the first Moorish organization founded in this country. And what is its purpose? If the people are the nation, then what is it? And so a lot of people say, hey, it's a religious organization, and religious organizations are subject to this and subject to that, and so on and so forth. It must first be understood that, yes, religious organizations do have a certain amount of autonomy because of the separation of church and state in this system. The state has very little control over how religious organizations operate. But the difference between most religious organizations and the Moorish Science Temple of America is that the Moorish Science Temple of America is not just a religious organization, but it's also a body politic. Most religious organizations, excuse me, in the USA are not body politics. And when you look up what a body politic is self-governing. So it's a government. The body politic is the government that represents the nation of the people politically. And since it's political status that we're dealing with when you're dealing with terms like Negro, Black, color, Moorish, so on and so forth. It's important to understand that that body politic component is what sets the Moorish Science Temple of America aside. Not only that, but another synonym for a nation is a society. And so we have to also understand that it's the society that forms the governmental entities, right? Not the other way around. The society is never incorporated. Only the will of that society through the governmental entity that is established for it. So the society never becomes incorporated. However, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to acknowledge you got Brother Laji's building a compound in Hawaii. That's his plans. It's our sister, Dr. Sonata, here on your left. She has a compound in D.C. So I wanted on Abdullah's show to acknowledge Baba Laji. He has a yoga compound that he's working on, and Dr. Sonata actually has Temple Mother Earth operating, and I wanted to acknowledge her because she may want you to come down to DC and present.
Honors, and I give honors to both of the elders on there. I appreciate you being on the call, and at any time, if anyone wants to interject, feel free, because I'll just keep going, So
I wanted to congratulate you on what you did out in Hawaii, going out there and creating a community and starting and moving and grooving. Like Brother Hank said, I want to create a Shangri-La type like reality. I thought that it might be a little dangerous to try and do it here in America, and a good friend of ours, I call Steve Bufomaster. He's done it in Colombia, and I've been to Colombia before. I've been a few places, and I'm really looking for that ideal place. Hawaii, so far to me, has been that ideal place, but with the things that's going on, in our times, in our days and time right now, it's I'm just asking God to direct me to that place to begin building. So right now we're just building online.
Yes. Honors to you, my brother. And we extend our hands to you and anyone else who wants to come visit the community in Hawaii. We have a convention every August where brothers and sisters can come down and visit the land, see the progress, participate in solar workshops, and learn about water catchment and all of these things that help make a community self-sustainable, so that we can begin to depend on ourselves and actually really have that economic sovereignty that we're really looking for in this life. So honors for that, and you're welcome anytime, beloved.
I wanted to come before that, but if that's when you got your thing, no later than that, I'll be there. I might be there twice before that, because
all right, you can come before that too. I mean, it'll just be a more you just have more focus on one another. But if you want to be there around the time where it's a lot of other brothers and sisters to network with too, August is a good time.
I'm just looking forward to it. Believe me, I'm looking forward to it.
Grand Chief, you mentioned, which is when you began defining nation building. And I just want to reiterate this point. You put the heavy focus on, in your definition of people and the outreaching of the people. I think that's I want to put that back into focus. Of nation building, and with our people not knowing who we are because we've been stripped of that knowledge of our nationality. So that you would, if you're talking about nation building in this case, restoring or recovering our lost sovereignty, all right, or rebuilding our nation, we have to outreach to the people, and that was something you mentioned, and you went on to other points, but I want to bring that back because that's major. That's a major point that I want to hone in on for a minute. Let's hone in on, all right, because you got millions of our people who are unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So the outreach must be a major focal point. Talk about millions.
That's right.
Millions of people get this black power. Say it loud. Black, everywhere. Internet. TikTok. Black this, black that, black this, black this, black this, black history month, black this. So you have the outreach.
Yes.
It has to be a major component. Major component when you mentioned that first. That was the first point that you mentioned. The other points you made about it are good, very good points. But the first point for me, for me, would be the most important. The most important regarding nation building would be the outreach and education of our people. Because if that ain't done, the other points won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You can't facilitate the other points in the definition if the outreach and education is not facilitated.
True, and I
just want to bring you back to that, brother.
All right.
That was spot on.
I'll slow it down a little bit.
Yes.
And we'll bring it back. Hopefully we can get back to some of those points because they're really relevant when you get past the outreach phase into the actual organizing phase. And so we'll get back to that hopefully. But as I said, being a part of the Black Student Union and being a part of the Pan-African Student Union, it's always been my mission to be where the people are that need the knowledge the most. And so in dealing in that, I mean, even we have to first define in the outreach, we define Black, and we know it's been said that Black means death and Black means civil death and civilis mortuus and things like that. And in the 101 questions for Moorish Americans says that Black, according to science, means death. And so I like to find, well, what science is that, right? Because when you look at it on a metaphysical level and an occultic level, Black takes on another connotation, which can be positive because out of darkness comes the light. That was first. And so a lot of times when we get into this discussion of Black, these are the types of things that you run into. People go on a cosmological level, on a metaphysical level. So when we say Black, we're dealing specifically with the political and social level because Black, according to science, means death in the political and in the civic world. And it also carries with it a stigma and a status that keeps us in a particular condition. And so it has political ramifications. So it's not just about Moorish pride or Moorish history and being able to articulate that and be heavy sounding when you're doing it. It's also about educating our people on the political ramifications of it and why they're in the condition, how that extends to, say, the civil rights movement, how that extends to the plight and the struggle that they've been experiencing this whole time. So again, when I was in Pan-African Student Union, Black Student Union, or even this book, is geared toward educating people so that they can know that the status that they're in and the condition that they're suffering from is tied to the opportunity that they accept. The child.
Can you unmute your mics, please?
Yeah. So that's the most important thing is first getting the people to understand what we mean when we say you're not Black. Now, you brought up Black power, and that's a very, in the 60s, you had things like Black power and Black pride that created this emotional attachment to Black, which makes it difficult to get away from that. But so it's the Black pride that keeps our people not wanting to let go. However, Black power is another thing because Black power is a political philosophy that means one wishes to empower the population known as Black. So as a Moorish American, I am for Black power because I have the solution that will empower the population known as Black. So when we step into that Black power realm, we say, hey, if so-called Blacks are to have power, they must first know who they are. And through knowing who they are, now they can actually have the power that they're seeking in that political philosophy.
That's a good way, good approach. I love that's why I wanted you to, camel back on that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up too.
Yeah.
Because,
hmm
we basically, coming out of colored and then Negro and all like this, we claimed Black, not because we were Black, because we're clearly. I've seen some Black people that was pure white, and matter of fact, the dude that was running for president in the Bush thing, that dude was literally redneck. He was at City College, Colin Powell. Man, when I was walking behind him, his neck was lit like a redneck. If I didn't see his face, I would have definitely thought he was white. But we claimed Black because they tried to make us ashamed to be Black. See, forget Negro, forget color, we Black. We're going to stay Black, we're going to be Black, we was born Black, and we claimed that. I wanted to ask you, do the Moorish teachings teach anything about the Tartarians?
All right. Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. About the because in my early years of trying to teach, about Moorish science, people would say, "Hey, you're just ashamed to be Black, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm ashamed to be Black. It's a shame to be Black. It just is, to accept that term. The funny thing about it is we moved from Negro to Black, and Negro just means Black in Spanish. So, we went from Black to Black in another language. So it's that type of psychological trickery that has our people still stuck in it today. But I think they're learning. Insofar as the Tartarians, Moorish science is multifaceted. And so it deals with the most ancient history, even before the Tartarians. And the Tartarians are a part of that, though may not be by that particular name in some circles. But in some circles, yes, Moors do teach. We teach about the ancient civilizations prior to these modern civilizations, and we teach about our role into it. In fact, there's a passage in the Circle 7, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which talks about the ancient Moroccan Empire and in extending across Northwest and Southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, Central America. So in that history right now, we're talking about during the time of Atlantis, right? So Moorish history goes back very far. However, myself, if I'm talking to Moors who are well educated in history, I deal with those subjects. But if I'm dealing with someone who again doesn't really know too much about that, I try to keep it simple and deal with reference points that they can relate to and kind of bring them up to that point down the road.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes. Cool.
Dr. Sanata, you have a question?
I got a comment to make while
Yes.
her screen is frozen.
Oh yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
Listen, my Moorish brothers and sisters, the so-called Olmec heads, Cosmo L. Sheck, it's Atlantean heads. Those are Atlantean heads that they renamed Olmec heads. Islam.
Islam, indeed. Again, you're going to find a lot of historic reconstruction when it comes to what we've learned. And so, we're only beginning to scratch the surface of our history, which is, it goes so far back that it's mind boggling, but again, it's hard to deal with those subjects with the people that are limit themselves to a history that begins in 1619, you know. But amongst knowledgeable warriors such as yourself, you know, we could definitely get into some of these subjects and get deep off into it. Again, uh, in the questions and teachings we have, we say that the Moorish flag, the current one, is over 10,000 years old. Some people get to thinking that it's 10,000 years old, but it says over 10,000 years old. But we don't really get into how far over 10,000 it is, because again, it gets kind of mind-boggling.
You know, one of the greatest, touching on a point that you made, one of their greatest tools against us is resetting the history.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? In fact, they're not only resetting the history, they reset everything. You know, destroy and reset and give us, you know, this is something I thought about long ago. I was watching Star Trek, and Spock and Captain Kirk was on the planet. And everything that the teacher was teaching these kids was not true. Now, she didn't think it was untrue. It's what she believed to be true. And they were teaching it. That was how they were being educated. But everything they were being educated on was an untruth. And I thought to myself, what is the nature of a mind, no matter how highly educated it might be in untruths? What does that untruth do to that mind? What does it do to the person? What does it do to the society where everything you learn is a lie, purposefully a lie? And so, I mean, every single solitary thing from yourself to God and everything in between. Imagine, what does that do to the mind? What does that do to the mind, that everything from the grammar to the even mathematics is all a lie?
Mm-hmm. It creates an artificial intelligence. You know, I like to say that the so-called Negro, Black, and Colors are the first AI, because that's the first artificial intelligence that have been created and programmed, you know. So we have to be able to deprogram our brothers and sisters and bring them up to a true natural, teach them about their natural self. And that's why it's hard to really get to them. You mentioned reset, and you know, reset takes place every time one of their holidays come around. That's a reset, you know, at least 4 times a year. No matter what's going on politically, no matter what's going on socially, Christmas time come around, and you know, the people are right back under that Christmas tree and forgetting all about their ills and their problems. So there's many resets that are taking place, which is why it's important to get on our culture and get on our calendar so that we can begin to thinking like our natural selves, because the calendars have a large part to do with that reset, whether it be their holidays, whether it be the Gregorian calendar. You know, once you know who you are, we can begin to explore other calendars that create other mind forms and thought patterns in our people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think I might come see you a lot sooner than I was even thinking about, brother, because we right here.
Islam, brother Abdullah, sister Dr. Sonata, she had changed phone. She had to change computers because she didn't have no sound. So that's why, you know, she was staring at you, spaced out looking, because she didn't hear a word you said. So if your computer's working now, Dr. Sonata, wave your hand. I guess she ain't hearing nothing either. All right. I'm going back.
Oh, she not all right. Dr. Nasanati, you don't hear us?
She might be trying to get in.
Yeah, she does. She unmuted. You have a question?
Oh, there she go.
Looks like
she's frozen.
There she go. I think she's in there now.
She's in there now. Dr. Sanetta, you have a question? She's moving. She's She's freezing. Not frozen, but
on and off freezing.
On and off, yes, yeah. All right. Brother Baba, you have another question or statement?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I wanted to I've been studying various religions around the world. I had a spiritual master, and he told me study them all. He said, you know, he didn't really like us studying, but he
I'm
knew,
here.
and
Can you hear me?
once I heard that,
I do hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, she hears now. Can I pass her the mic?
yeah,
You want
Can you
to
hear
give a
me?
question, so Dr. Tanetta? Yes, I hear you. You have a question or comment?
No, I don't have a question at this time.
At the time. All right. I'll continue, brother.
So I wanted to start learning about the
Can you hear
Moorish.
me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you going in and out. It looked like you're freezing and unfreezing. And
Yes.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. It's
I do
it's a
not have a question, but can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
yes. I'm nodding my head. Yes.
We probably going in and out
Yes.
volume too.
All right. Continue, brother.
There's a delay.
I wanted to
Yeah,
start.
there is. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to start getting deeper into the Moorish science, and I definitely want to get your book, A Black and More. And you know, we got a lot of info on that. You know, halfway given to us by the Europeans, but I would like if you could give me a list of books I could get to familiarize myself with Moorish science. You know, when I was in a study group in City College, we would get like a dozen books to just begin to understand a thing, no matter what it was. And I went to college, you know, I wasn't trying to go to for any other purpose than they was telling me, you know, Dr. Ben and John Henry Clark, Leonard Jeffries, all go to college. And I'm like, well, I'm wasting my time going there. They don't study like we do. You know, we read a book a day. And like, and they hardly did, you know, it's a waste of time. He said, because of what you want to do, go there to see how they tricking the tricknology. Go there and see what they do. And so I wanted to get at least a good dozen good books, you know, really powerful stuff that I could just, you know, wet my, you know, just get a little taste and start familiar myself with the Moorish science, because I want to know it. And when I come out there, I could ask you some questions, because I'm definitely coming. Before I came here, I went to Hawaii because I was going to settle there first. And I lived in Hawaii on the Big Island for a while. And that might be the place where I set up shop, you know, teaching the spiritual science. And I think we need a whole new school exploring, you know, electroplasmic mathematics, David Miller's grammar rather than the grammar they're teaching us in school. I don't know if you heard of him, and all the different things that we should be studying, like Treasury Direct, our Sesta KV account, money that we get that's colossal that we don't even know. But now in Trump's in, we can actually tap into that money, because the Biden and Obama, they was blocking us from getting to our own Sesta KV account. See, as it is now, you know, my concept is we can create beings because there's a process. You know, we can create like messiahs. We can create Christ-like being. We can create that. It is a process. And what I feel is we have to sequester ourselves for the simple fact, if they took out one guy that they thought was like that, imagine taking out what they would do if they knew a whole community of people was trying to bring down godlike beings. And they're coming. These indigo children, the crystal children, the star children, all the things that we heard about, and we see it. So they're trying to inoculate them with their poisons to keep them from their potential. And next thing you know, they got what do you call that disease where they kind of bugged out? Not Alzheimer's. Of course, not Alzheimer's. That's they do that to us, so we could be bugged out. But the what is that piece that 20% of the kids that get inoculated is end up developing you know, I know, you know, it's a common word now, especially now, but they're not retarded, but it's something like retard, right? Retardation. It's a common word. You know, it's slipping my mind now. What'd you say? You know what I'm talking about, Sister Sonata? Damn, it just crossed my mind and left that quick.
All right. So
Yeah,
when you think of it, let just shout it out.
yeah.
I continue with
He's talking about
you go ahead.
HD or something like that. That's
Autism.
uh,
Autism.
autism. Oh, yes, Islam. There you go.
Autism. All right. Autism.
These
Yeah,
shots,
that's
they're coming from these shots, you know? And
yes, yes.
what blows my mind about these, I don't want to say the name because they done stole our freedom of speech, so we got to speak in
Oh
code.
yeah, you know we gotta be careful on this platform. So we're gonna let's tone that down.
I'm saying the shots, all right?
Oh no, yeah, we won't say yeah. I'll even talking about that.
Right.
We don't want to get yeah, that's all. We gonna move on. We gonna move on because
There's a book called,
they're listening in and they'll shut this down.
it is a
All
book
right. Yeah.
called, did it come to me? I got 3 books.
Yeah,
here.
but we won't. I don't really want to. I don't want to continue with that. I don't want to continue along that because they'll shut this down. Like I don't want to criticize that.
That's not what that's not what
I
I'm
know.
talking.
I'm all right. We good. Good. We good. I just want to. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that it's a pretty simple science in that relationship, and it's not like it's dealing with IgGs, you know, immunoglobulins, and what we're gonna leave that alone. But there's a simple science that will protect us from these shots. And
Yeah.
if
I don't really want to go there with that. Let's
Mhm.
move on.
This
I'm
is
not saying let's move on, please, brother. Let's move on because I don't. Please, let's move on.
please listen. All right.
Just yeah.
If we don't dig ourselves in regard to that, they'll keep diminishing us mentally and mentally.
No, I understand. I'm just talking about this platform that they will shut down. I just want to move on. That's all I'm saying, brother. I'm with you. I'm with you, bro. We got you. I'm with you.
I'm asking to stop.
All
So,
right, brother. But
listen to me, my brother.
brother, please, brother, please, brother, please,
Please not argue. Let's not argue.
brother, please, brother Cosmo. Go ahead, continue.
I don't think I was speaking at the time, but you know, I just want to reiterate that nation building oh, he was asking a question about the temple. So the
Mhm.
temple, the best and about the books. The best thing what I would suggest to anyone who wants to really learn more science is first seek out a temple near you. You know, whether you want to join or not. I mean, at least go to the temple. You know, connect with some brothers and sisters so that you can get the knowledge firsthand. Secondly, the most important book to look into would be the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America because it contains the aims, objectives, and spiritual and metaphysical sciences of Moorish science. And that was given directly from the founder of it, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Third, I have a book known as Higher Self, Lower Self, Character Building According to Islamism. Moorish science is multifaceted. However, one of the main sciences that we focus on, and as you were saying, that can be most crucial in creating those godlike beings, is the character building, not through knowledge of the higher self and the lower self. Because one of the things that I touched upon as I was building yesterday, I actually read a few passages from that book, and you know, really reiterated that when it comes to nation building, the spiritual and the soul component is along with educating our people about themselves and their bloodline. It's also important to educate them about their creed, their spirituality, because this is the foundation of how we're going to govern ourselves. This is the foundation of our ethics. It's the foundation of how we're going to interact with one another in society. And having that lower self in control is most important. We say, what does the lower self breed? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. And when you listen to hip hop today and some music today, that's exactly what you hear: hatred, slander, lewdness, even murder. And so, and this is what is produced and made for the mainstream, and it keeps our people on a certain level. So when you want to talk about creating those godlike beings, character building and the study of self, the knowledge of self, not the self that we see, because that's not the self, but the self that we don't see. Learning how to master our lower self so that we can be our higher selves, because in our higher selves, that's our aligned man. And when we align ourselves with our higher self, or the most high in man, whatever higher deity that you understand, the higher self is that in man, and we have to align with that, so that when we do begin to create societies and we do begin to nation build, that we don't recreate the same thing that we come from. There's a lot of books out there. What I'll do is also give you a few authors. Eric Munjin Bey is a prolific author when it comes to Moorish science. Shem Il is another brother who has some very good books when
He
it
was
deals.
on this platform.
Yes, good
When was
brother.
that? October of last year, I believe, or November.
Yeah, and I've been on this platform several times. I met him at the Moorish Unity Summit in North Carolina some time ago, and we connected and have been good brothers ever since. And so I actually quote one of his books in my book, Higher Self, Lower Self. And then let's see, there's Azim Hopkins Bey. When you start to deal with some of the history of Moorish science and how things were formed. So I will look into these authors. There's a lot of other authors as well. But again, as opposed to just get the knowledge anywhere you can. But I think the source, when you want to get to the root source of the knowledge, the Circle 7, Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then also, going to a temple and talking with brothers face to face and sisters face to face is always a good look.
Is there one here in Atlanta?
I'm pretty sure there's several, but the one in Atlanta that I'm most familiar with is I can't remember that exact number right now, but the Grand Sheikh is Heru Renesi Il, and he's also an author as well. I met him at a Moorish Unity Summit as well in North Carolina, and so if I would try that temple. And they have a good group of brothers and sisters over there, and he's an excellent teacher and prolific author as well. Heru Renesi Il.
Renesi.
Yes, I think it's Renese space EL, and Heru, of course, Heru. So I would check him out if you're in Atlanta. Touch bases with that brother. Let him know that brother Cosmo Ill referred you, and not that you have to, but it's good to let someone know that you have a reference to be coming to him, and I'm sure he'll take care of you.
And you got what you see across the screen is my books, the website to my books.
Oh yeah,
And what you see across the screen, mooresandmasonry.org, website to my books.
Already yes. That. But I do want to address you, my brother Bey. You're a guest on this show. I'm a host. And
I'm a host, brother. I'm the host. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Let's clear this up.
This is a day. This is a day.
Let's clear this up. Let's clear this up.
Okay.
This is Moorish Monday with Abdullah Il Timosi Bey.
This is
on Magnix. Brother, just hear me out.
Okay.
I am the host. I'm the host. This is Moorish Monday with Abdullah Il Timosi Bey, which is me, on Magnix Crystal Pyramid YouTube. This is my 14th month. I am the host of this show.
I didn't know that at all.
No, I'm the host.
Okay, because I'm the host on Tuesday.
I'm the host of this show. I'm the host of the show.
I thought this was
No. We clear. We clear now. We clear.
Okay, cool.
We're clear. We good.
I'm the host on Tuesdays, and
I'm the host of Moorish Monday.
Okay, cool. I didn't know.
All right, go ahead, brother.
I yield the floor to any other questions or comments that someone might want to address.
Dr. Sinetta, do you have a question or comment? No question. Hank, are there any questions in the chat you want to bring up?
You got to check. I'm in lab zone putting together stuff, and I'm getting ready to call Sonata because she's frozen in
All right.
time and space.
No problem. Brother Grand Chief, do you see on your computer do you see anything in the chat? Because I'm on my. You see any questions?
I can see it from where I'm at. If I
Oh, you on your you don't. All right. What about your phone?
let me see here.
Go to the YouTube link on your phone.
All right.
Yeah, then you'll be able to see the show, and then you'll be able to see questions in the chat. That's right, because you're on your computer. But on your phone, you'll be able to go. Let's go to the YouTube link that I text you.
All right.
And then that'll take you to the show. You'll be able to see yourself. And then you'll see, and then you look at the chat. All right, so brother, you're doing a wonderful job. This is man, I'm definitely enjoying this presentation. For those who are just joining us, this is National Grand Sheik Cosmo Ill. The day's topic is Great Divide, Uniting the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Where do we go from here? Nation building. And the brother's doing a wonderful job and elucidating us with his years of background, even in going back to college, as he mentioned, in the Black Student Union and other organizations that actually has prepared him to do what he's doing now. Those experiences are very important in molding you, brother, to who you are today. And you have made it an emphasis of expanding the knowledge, expanding the outreach, and that's very important. And to do that, some of us, some conscious Moors, will get into their
Can you hear me?
little click. Yeah, we definitely, you can hear you. And their click of staying in their little shell, their little small circle, and you definitely have not done that. But it's because of your experience, and you were president of a particular organization when you were in college. You mentioned it's that experience that actually has prepared you, and it actually made you see the importance of connecting with the people. And so I definitely want to give you your flowers for that, brother. Greatly appreciate you in that. Dr. Sanetta, you here? Do you have a question or comment at this time?
Actually, there's 64 comments in here. One of them was
please. Let's address some of those.
One of them was if she can't speak or talk to put her questions in the chat or comments in the chat section. That was a suggestion on here, just so you know, if she keeps having technical difficulty.
Oh, with Dr. Sanetta, I got you.
Yeah,
good. That was a suggestion. Great. That's a good point. Good point.
There's a lot of comments here, a lot of shout outs, people appreciating the show.
Not surprising.
I see a lot of comments related to nationality and civics that someone is putting in here, speak about nationality and civics and other people making comments. So yes, someone also agreed the teaching is within the Circle 7. So yeah, it's a lot of comments here. Said, could the GS touch on titles of nobility and what each name means or alludes to? So I think I'll if I have the floor to address a couple.
You absolutely.
So I think we're coming full circle here to be able to deal with some of the concepts I was speaking on a little earlier in relation to nationality and civics. We were talking about the word Black and the status that our people are in this country. And one of the solution to get out of from under the status of those chattel terms is knowing about one's nationality, proclaiming one's nationality, and becoming a part of one's nation through the various facets of that nation. And so, you know, having a nationality is important because every other people has one. And it was our nationality that we were stripped of. And we learned that we need to link ourselves with the families of nations. So when you look at the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, it says that everyone is deserving of a nationality. Everyone has the right to have a nationality. It's funny because, you know, sometimes Moors get to arguing with one another, some dealing with nationality, others dealing with indigenous science, so on and so forth. But when you look at the DRIP, the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, you'll see that it's Article 6 or Article 5, one of those, that says
Yeah.
that
It's five.
five,
Mhm.
thank you, that Article 5, that all are entitled to a nationality. So this nationality thing must be real important. You know, it's a right, and we don't know anything about it because we've been calling ourselves these terms that they put on us. And so again, it comes back to that nation, and not just knowing that we're a people, but actually having a governmental entity to represent that people. And so this is one of the things that was established by Prophet Noble Jew Ali first. And many people have camelbacked on that and have established other entities that can be said to be outgrowths of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And one of my missions in coming on this show and doing this East Coast tour is to help Moors to understand that there's a great need and for unity amongst the various facets and branches, the roots and the branches of the movement, because it's within our unification that we have our true power. One of the things that I said last night was that if the Europeans could come together after the Civil War, where there was hundreds of thousands of people killed and enormous bloodshed, then we should be mature enough as a nation, and they could come together and form a perfect union. We should be able to come together as a nation of people and form a perfect union, because any of the differences and issues and skirmishes that Moors have had don't amount to a hill of beans when it comes to the Civil War. And so it's very important that we have to put our egos aside, get in our higher selves, put that ego aside, and begin to heal this nation by coming together. And was people ask, well, how do we do that? Because everybody wants to keep their sovereignty of their group, and that's fine. You know, even outside of the Moorish paradigm, people are leaders and they have groups that they're leading and things that they have established and an amount of sovereignty within themselves. So it's important for us to know that one can keep their sovereignty, but we need to form councils where delegations and leaders of those organizations come together, and the heads have equal say in forming a greater union, so that we can have greater political, social, and economic power. Because it's a lot of conscious Moorish Americans, a lot of proclaimed Moorish Americans, a lot of body politics that are extension of the original body politic, a lot of civic groups, a lot of study groups. And if we were able to harness our political, social, and economic power, then we would be an unstoppable force when it comes to healing our people and putting our people, setting our people back up in their rightful position on this earth. But it takes, like you said, coming outside of our insular communities, learning how to work together, and that character building and that self-development and that higher self-teachings is the only way that we're going to be able to put our egos aside and do this. So it's about nationality, but the root word of nationality is nation. So once you proclaim your nationality, you have to understand your nation has to claim you back.
I gotta go.
Once your nation claims you back with the various documents and paperwork that you need to represent yourself in that society, it comes with rights. You get rights, but it also comes with responsibilities. And the problem is a lot of people want the rights, but they don't want the responsibilities. You know, they want the benefit of being on the do not detain list or being able to not be harassed by other citizens and being able to have certain exemptions. But then when it comes to the responsibility, that's where we fall short. And so it's time for us to put our egos aside, realize that with rights come responsibilities. And if we're willing to have the rights, we need to be willing to perform the responsibilities to one another. And we could change this movement overnight.
Islam, Sheikh, Cosmo, Abdullah, Bey, you have a call in who has a question. Sister, go ahead.
Oh, great.
Greetings to the panel. Greetings to the National Grand Sheikh, Cosmo L. I appreciate you, brother Hank, being able to put me on. I have two questions. It's two parts, actually. I am a clan mother for one of the indigenous tribes, and I've always had a level of frustration as it relates to the relationship between indigenous tribes and Moors, because as far as I'm concerned, we are collectively one and the same on so many things as far as who we are and how we represent. It'd be great to see more of a connection or relationship to be able to help us to progress beyond where we are right now. You know, when we look at the Ashkenaz Jews and the Hasidic and all these different sects of the Jewish community, to the outside world, they're just Jews. Whatever it is that they may have going on the inside, we don't hear about what that is, but we just know from the outside, they are collectively one. So it'll be great. You know, I'm just asking, you know, what can we do to be able to actually help move ourselves into a space as indigenous tribes and Moors, whichever, you know, and but respectfully, whichever, you know, realm you fall into or you come into, how can we represent ourselves better? That's one question. And the other is to follow up. As we share the knowledge about nationality and what it means to be a Moor, I think if we're looking at what the general public looks like, when people are comfortable, they're not necessarily looking to shake things up. And, you know, as much as it is, you know, comfortability breeds complacency, when folks are in a place of comfort, they're not looking for what we're doing per se. And while we don't want everyone, I think that if we have certain things in place like jobs, and we're creating all of these means to be able to help people make that transition from the public to who we are as a nation in terms of nation building, I think that we would see a greater migration over into the realm of what nationality actually means. And I yield the floor. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take that, Sheik.
Islam, sister, I really appreciate you bringing up those questions. And these are some things that I also talked about yesterday. I'll deal with the last question first. The Prophet Noah Ali established the body politic and the body corporate. And the body corporate side is what deals with the economic and in part social programs for our people. So us at the United Moorish Science Temple of America, we have 5 main points that we like to teach our brothers and sisters, because as a nation, the what's most important is not having our individual titles as grand sheiks and you know, all of these flowery titles that people have. The most important people are the members of the society, are the members of the nation, are the people of the nation. Our duty is to them. And there's 5 major duties that grand sheiks and temples should be carrying out for their people. And I think this speaks to the question that you're saying. And providing these services for their members. Number one is births. We have to be bringing in our own children. We need to have our own births outside of their hospitals, and under various religious protections. This is where religion comes in. A lot of people see religion as just something that is deals with rituals and ethics, but we have to remember the free exercise clause of the Constitution of the United States of America makes religion a political thing. And that insofar as, since there's a separation between church and state or religion and state, when you are able to have your children under religious pretenses, now you're in a self-governing capacity where you can create birth records, and as opposed to having to go let the hospital create the birth record and go ahead and get the birth certificate. Now you create the birth record and you claim the children into your society. And since it's separated from religion and state, you're already off the top separating them from the state and putting them under your ethical, religious, whatever that may be, protections, and have the protections of the free exercise clause. So having the births, creating the birth documents that are necessary, and providing whatever they need. Of course, if there's an emergency or something like that, you can always take them to the hospital. Their medicine is good for emergencies. Number two, the schools. Me and my family have had a private religious school for at least 10 years now. We graduated our eldest daughter and our eldest son. And when we got to Hawaii, we were able to use that paperwork to put our eldest son into the college there, and a 2-year program to learn carpentry. And after he completed that program, he came back and built another structure on the land. So he was able to develop those nation building skills and immediately come back and bring it back and benefit the community. So and it's important, because when we put our children in their schools, we're putting them under the jurisdiction of that school as long as they're in that school. So a lot of times you can form a private school very simply with the yearly affidavit, keeping good records, having a place, and keeping attendance. So one should look into forming these schools. And if you know, sometimes our people have to work, form collectives where if you have to work, someone else can help educate your children that's from your community. Along with that also comes documents such as IDs, report cards, development reports that they weaponize against us in the other societies. So we're able to produce these things organically for our children and protect them throughout their educational career. Number three, providing jobs, and that relates to schooling with preparing them with nation building skills. And I'll go into that a little bit later. Number four, marriage obligations. Through your religious ceremonies and spiritual ceremonies, you can have your own marriage obligation ceremonies instead of having to buy your man or buy your woman from the state, because this again brings about a certain level of jurisdiction as well. And lastly, very important, burying our own dead and having graveyards, because where you bury your people is sacred ground. And when you establish that sacred ground, is stronger than any trust. You know, even though you may protect it with the religious trust, that sacredness is universal. So I'll end there on the second question. The first question, I want to read a chapter from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's chapter 30, and it's the holy instructions from the prophet's social duties. And it says, when thou considerest thy wants, when thou beholdest thy imperfections, acknowledge his goodness, O son of humanity, who honored thee with humanity, endowed thee with speech, and placed thee in society. And this is the most important part: to receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations, protections from injury, and enjoyment of comforts and the pleasures of life. All of these thou owest to the assistance of others, and couldst not only enjoy, but in the bands of society. Bands of society. So we organize ourselves in bands. Moors are indigenous. If you go to the CDC website and you type in the hierarchical code 1237-7, you're going to see under the Indian or indigenous section the term Moor. And so our nation, and when we go back to the drip and it says every indigenous person has a right to have a nationality, right? So the bands of society and the tribes of society are a part of the nation. And those are some of the local groups of people that may have specific laws to themselves, right? And specific sacred rituals amongst themselves. But that's where the council comes in, because each one has representation on the council, equal representation on the council, to see that their needs are met in the nation. So there should never be any problem between our indigenous bands and the nation. The indigenous bands and tribes are a part of the nation. So having a nationality doesn't take away from being indigenous, being a tribe, or being a band of society. It only adds to it if we're able to come together in unity and put our egos aside.
Did you get that, sister?
I absolutely did, and I want to give Cecil speaking. I want to respond to him if I can.
Go ahead.
Give thanks unto you, National Grand Sheik. All of your words are well received, and I'm in agreement with you as far as, you know, more indigenous people being Moors as well, and vice versa. The thing is that when you listen to the street, I'm going to use the word street, right? When you listen to the street, you know, there seems to be so much confusion and separation, which is why I brought the question about, because ideally we are one. I was just wondering, how can we, you know, what can we do to better improve the relations, and what is actually out there in terms of thoughts amongst the general public. And as far, I understand what you're saying. If I'm moving forward to the second question, I understand the progressiveness of, you know, us being able to actually take care of our own births all the way up to university levels and whatnot. And ideally, that's correct as we talk about from childhood into adulthood. From where we are right now, the adults have to bring the children in. And from that space, there's a hesitation that I've noticed amongst everyday people who may be curious, but feel as though they may be shuffled some in terms of their comfortability as far as what they're accustomed to from an everyday, from the everyday lifestyle. When we look at what it is that we offer right now, whether it be under the tribal or the Moorish umbrellas or lifestyle, you don't see a lot of avenues for people to migrate into into the new lifestyle, where it is where they're comfortable then. So much so as we are creating new means, but, you know, businesses, are we already creating businesses to be able to actually now have cooperative economics amongst us as the adults? You know, do we have those things in place? And like you mentioned, your son having gone to college, and now he's actually bringing, you know, means to be able to actually work back into the community. Like, we need more of what that looks like. And, you know, I know it's a longer dialogue that needs to happen, but how can we basically work more expeditiously into helping to navigate those avenues? And I want to give thanks to Grand Sheik Curtis Douglas for actually sending the link for this call, because, you know, this is an important discussion that we need to have, I think, more readily available, for what is going on right now. It's like, you know, we're behind. I think we're behind the 8 ball right now to be able to get our stuff together as the change is actually occurring. And also give thanks to our host, Brother Abdullah. I appreciate you for what this is right now. Thank you. I yield the floor.
If I may, Brother Abdullah Bey, Islam. I think I kind of spoke on your first question again. Forming councils forming councils to create that dialogue is the way that we improve relations with one another. You know, and understanding that it's not for everybody. This is for strong men and women and mature men and women. You know, that you know, you said the street, and I understand what you mean when you say that. But we have to be dealing with the higher echelon of thinkers when it comes, because when we prepare it, then they'll come. So forming councils to air out these differences and um, create measures and to create code of conduct amongst one another. And so it starts with dialogue just like this, and taking that message to our respective communities and saying, hey, there is a spirit, whether it be a new spirit or an old spirit that is coming, that this is possible because we're speaking on it right now. So when we run into those ones that are divisive, we have to just not be divisive ourselves and don't take it personal, because we understand that they're still maturing. And then focus on the people that are maturing. Write literature, put out information, have councils with the mature people that you can have councils with. As far as establishing businesses and things of that nature, you know, in the United Moorish Science Temple of America, we have a national charity that started in California, but is in now 5 jurisdictions as a foreign corporation. It's a 501c3 temple controlled business. It's not the temple, but it's controlled by the temple. And we need to begin to realize that we can have auxiliary businesses, whether it be 508c1a, whether it be a 501c3, whether it be a LLC, whether it be any other type of business structure that is under temple control, but the temple is not under it. Because the benefit of that is, if it's structured right, we'll be able to now convey resources to where we need it to be with the temple. And it won't, now once you've conveyed it, it's no longer under the jurisdiction of those entities that were designed to help convey resources to. And in the meantime, so we've sponsored the various projects. We've been able to help sponsor some of the programs going on at the Aloha Moorish Retreat, the Moorish village that we're building in Hawaii, to help establish that community. We recently were able to help send resources to the Gullah Geechee Corridor Project in Atlanta to aid our indigenous brothers and sisters out there. We've helped various small businesses that were bringing about healthy juices and healthy lifestyle foods to the people that were just personal people, to help get their businesses off the ground by sponsorship. And then once we convey these grants to these people, it's theirs now. It's what they do with it. And it's not under the jurisdiction of that 501c3 entity. So again, we need to also become mature about the body corporate side of the Moorish Science Temple of America and Moorish movements, and we can help provide greater resources. And this comes also too by dialogue from the various entities. What's working with you? What's working with you? We can import and export as we need those ideas and things that are working to help each other. Unfortunately, it will not be an overnight process, but it doesn't have to be a protracted process. It just depends on how fast we move and how sincere we are while we're moving.
Brother Abdullah Bey, this is Sunada with a better connection. I'll let you take it from here, brother.
Oh, yes. Dr. Senada,
Greetings.
welcome. Good, good. We got a great connection.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you. You've been with us for the past hour and some change, and we want to hear from you. Comment about what you've heard. Well, let's do this. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
My name is Dr. Sonata Kamara. I am a beekeeper and the founder of Temple Mother Earth. And Temple Mother Earth is a temple of higher consciousness. And so when we're talking about our people and things that we're doing, it really starts with the individual being at the individual level, to know that you are in a state of love and abundance. And a lot of the infrastructure has caused us to feel that we are inferior, not inferior beings. And we just have to be able to tap into the God that's within ourselves. And that's what we do at Temple Mother Earth, to allow you to stand into your own power. And we can't do anything with the collective until you still start first dealing with the individual. So the individual has to stand in their power and realize how
Hmm.
strong and powerful they are. And until we can get them at the individual level, then we can start working on the collective level. So a lot of it has to do with mindset and restructuring and reorganizing and putting ourselves into a proper process, honoring our bodies, honoring our vessels, eating right, taking care of ourselves. That's all comes into a state of being. So when we're talking about organizing and putting things into proper perspective, it first works on each individual being to understand who they are, what they are, how powerful they are, to get out of the space of lack and to step into a space of abundance. And
Hmm.
having these conversations and having these communities are very impactful because uh, a raised tide raises all boats. So it's in the communities and the tribes and the clans and the infrastructure that we can all support each other to become better versions of ourselves. And then with that, that's when we can have the true evolution. The true evolution starts with yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
I agree.
wonderful, wonderful.
Islam. I agree
You
100%. I have a book called The Higher Self, Lower Self, and character building according to Islamism. And that's what we emphasize. I think we were talking about that a little earlier, that if you don't tap into that God in the self and align with the God in the self, then what you run the risk of recreating everything that you just came from. And so if we want to have higher vibrational societies, we also indeed have to have that element that you so eloquently brought up. And that is one of the greater emphasis in the teachings of Moorish science is the study of self and the science of self and aligning with our higher selves and understanding, number one, what is the self, because we can't be ourself if we don't even know what the self is. So we have to know ourselves, know what our higher self is, know what our lower self is. So I agree 100% with you, sister. I'm in agreement with that. Islam.
And so, what do
absolutely.
you feel to achieving that goal?
Say it again.
What do you feel are the steps towards achieving that goal?
Well, in my book, I don't think I have any here. I may have sold out of that. Oh, here, I have one right here.
Hmm.
So this is the book that I'm talking about right here. It's higher self and lower self.
Mm-hmm.
Question from the questionnaire. And so um, within this book, I deal with, I'll just kind of go through the chapters because I wrote this book because it's easy to say, hey, we need to be our higher self, and then not give someone a roadmap as to how to achieve that particular purpose. And so I thought it was important to write this book to help people understand some of the practical things that they can do to achieve that goal. And so if I can take a few minutes and just go through just pretty much the titles of the chapter. Number one, we say aligning with the God in us. So I first start out by defining or helping to define in the way that I do, what is that? What is that? Because if we don't know what the God is in us that we're trying to align with, then how can we align with it? And so I'm not going to go through everything, but I'm going to go through some briefly. It says, I use the term Allah. You can replace that with any type of term. Allah has no physical form, has no nationality or gender. Allah is not visible to the human eye. Allah is one. So, what is the Allah spoken of in the above quote? We know Allah through his character, in other words, attributes. We can see Allah's actions and read about Allah's actions and observe Allah's actions through nature. And so, understanding that Allah is not this, or the Most High is not this anthropomorphized version of the Most High that we have been taught in some of the Christian churches and other elements. Now, when I use the term Allah, a lot of times, you know, we get into a thing and I say he, we say, well, Allah is not a he, or is Allah he, or is Allah she? So if Allah is neither he nor she, or has no gender, in fact, we have no gender, our true selves have no gender. We're only engendered when we come into our physical bodies, and our physical bodies determine gender. But the soul itself has no gender. The spirit itself has no gender, or has no sex, so to speak. But now, make no mistake, when we come into these physical bodies, we're now engendered. So I don't want anyone to take that the wrong way, right? So first thing that happens when I see people come into the temple, now we're in this argument between is Allah or God a he or she. So that's why I put this section on the gender of Allah. Allah has no gender. Allah is a spirit, and all spirits have no gender. In fact, even human spirits have no gender until they're clothed with flesh. We say he when referring to Allah due to grammar only. And if you know the language of Arabic, you understand that there are feminine words and there are masculine words. And so Allah happens to be a masculine word. And so that's why there's a he. But make no mistake, in Moorish Science Temple teachings, we say that the higher self is Allah and man. And we also say that the higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life, and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. So we don't shy away from that, using either term, he or she, father or mother, because we understand that they're purely symbolic and not physical. And the reason I bring that up is important is because when people are trying to tap into themselves and they begin to take that journey, they have to be first clear on what is the force that's inside them in their higher self that they're aligning themselves with. And if they're boggled down by how we've been taught in Western society and trying to assign gender and anthropomorphizing the concept of the Most High, that's their first block. Secondly, is defining what is the self. And you know, we kind of went over that a little bit. The self that we're talking about is also immaterial. You don't see yourself when you look inside the mirror. You've never seen yourself because the self isn't something that you see. This is only our avatar. And so what is our self? And we understand ourself as that breath that was placed into us, our character, our personality, which is not visible until you act. Once through your actions, people can now observe your personality. They can observe your character. They can observe the real you. That is the real you. And so knowing that the self that we're developing is, and that's not to take away from developing our physical self. That's a part of our self on this manifest. But if we don't develop the self that we can't see, we'll never have the discipline to be able to develop on the physical plane and to do those things necessary to even keep our bodies healthy. So then after that, do an in-depth study of what the higher self is and what the lower self is. We say the lower self is the carnal self, the body of desires. Understanding that it's not within bones to think, nor in flesh to reason. So it's not the physical body itself. And the example that I used last night was that by being in this manifest plane, we have certain urges and certain character desires that we have. The main two is our sexual desires and our desires to eat. If we didn't have these, we wouldn't exist as a human race. We wouldn't procreate. We wouldn't eat. But they're so strong because they're so necessary. And so by being in this manifest, if we don't have a true understanding of our higher self, these impulses can now take over and begin to rule us. And that which was here for our procreation can now kill us, because if we eat the wrong foods and we don't take care of ourselves, then now we're subjecting ourselves to death. Same thing with not using procreation in the right way. There's many diseases out there that can kill you. So knowing the lower self, what it is actually, and knowing how to align it, not necessarily destroy it. I think a lot of people make that mistake that we need to crush our lower self. No, we need to align it with the higher self so that it fits its proper purpose. And we already talked about somewhat what the higher self is. Now, after that, I go through our 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to deal with the freedom aspect, because being tempered with the history that we come from, of knowing about slavery and bondage and being shackled, when we talk about freedom, a lot of times we approach it from that concept. Freedom in the West tends to mean the ability to do and will anything that you want to do. And having that concept of freedom is a detriment to society, because if my freedom is to be able to will to do whatever I want to do, I run the risk of trampling over your freedom now. So when we go on to the quote unquote metaphysical or the soul plane, we see that freedom now is the opposite of what we were taught here, and that freedom involves restraint. The most important part of freedom on the spiritual and on the soul level is restraint, because we need to have to be able to restrain the impulses and the actions of the lower self, so that we can align ourselves with that higher self, and that we can be truly that divine being with the proper will and discipline. And only through understanding this form of freedom and restraint of self are we now going to be more mindful of others, of their freedom, and not trampling on their rights. And if we're all practicing that self-restraint, then we'll have that proper cohesive interactions with one another. So within the book, these are some of the examples, when it comes to restraint. One of the things I bring up is also knowing how to suffer. And I don't mean suffering for any reason. We all suffer for small reasons. Women and men suffer to get their hair done, plucking eyebrows. We suffer to work out and feel minor pains in order to gain more muscle. So we have to begin to see that willful suffering on certain levels is a way that we can gain that strength to be able to build our character and not make ourselves so comfortable with everything. Be willing to face a little bit of uncomfortableness and a little bit of mild suffering to be able to build a stronger willpower and a stronger ability to have that self-restraint and freedom. So these are some of the steps that I expound upon in the book. This is just I'm just condensing it for the purpose of time right now, but I hope that at least answer some of your questions of what you think that the steps that I think that we should be taking to achieve that goal.
Okay, well,
Dr. Sanetta?
I like to add some comments to those. So if you are a sovereign being, you're a spiritual being here on this earth to have an existence, right? You're here to experience God yourself. And so you are the driver of your life. You are the main character in your life. So in my movie, I'm the main character. In your movie, you're the main character. So what I do is, work on states of consciousness and states of sovereignty within the self, and that's knowing myself. A lot of us are not intimate with ourselves. We don't know who we are. Into me, I see. Being intimate with who you are as a being, understanding you're good, you're bad, and you're ugly, because it's through your ugly that you really understand who you are as a being. And
That's right.
so the key to is the integration piece. So we come into a community where people are very spiritual. They may know all the laws of Ma'at, follow all the rulings, but if you don't integrate that into your life, into your practice, you're still putting yourself in a state of lack. And so what we need to do as people is first understand who we are and what we're here to do and the life that we're here to experience. And then with that understanding, then take in and take on these daily practices. Because remember, this is our meat suit. This is still a form of animal. This is a form of animal. We're human, but we're still a form of the animal. So that's what we have to understand. And with that, it has desires and needs and wants. And then when you combine, like you're saying, your lower self, your higher self, I say my spiritual self with my physical self, and that's the integration. So that's why like vision boards and visualization and those things really work, because your thoughts become things and you're able to manifest that into this realm. Now with your daily practices and your teachings, you're honoring yourself with your commands. So if you're saying, I want to be a business owner, I want to lose weight, or I want to travel to Mexico, okay, so what are the things you got to do to get there? You can just say want it. You have to do the work and the planning and the organization for that to happen. So as a culture, as a society, as a people, it's a matter of knowing, one, how powerful we really are, two, creating and manifesting those realizations, and then three, having an understanding of how you can then carry yourself to the next level of being. There's too much conversation about, oh, they're holding me down, they're holding me back. That may have been the case, but when you start focusing on where you want to go and what you want to create, it's up to you to take that stuff. If you're a god and a goddess, then it's up to you to follow the steps to bring yourself out of this space of lack. And that space of lack is the construct, it's the programming, it's the what call it's happened with us through the colonistic society. And then standing into your power to say, okay, we're going to work to honor this vessel, to do the things that we need to do to take ourselves to a better state of being and to support each other in that space. And
Mm.
so is where the key comes into our success to allow ourselves to move ourselves forward.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think we're saying the same thing through different terminology. I say
Mhm.
alignment of the lower self with the higher self. You say spiritual self and soul self. I think we're just saying the same thing. It all starts with the self. I like the way you put it. You're the main character in your story. I'm the main character in my story. I think one of the things I talked about insofar as knowing the self, and there's a brother named Naeem Akbar. I don't know if you ever heard of him. And he wrote a book called The Community of Self. So there's also a communal self. And once we work on our individual selves and we decide and we attract with like-minded people that are on the same vibration that we're on, then that's when we begin to build that communal self. And that communal self is our story, right? And we're all supporting characters in that story. We're the main characters in our own story, but we're supporting characters in the communal story. And so, but again, I think I said earlier that if we don't have that inner self and that alignment with each other and with the higher self and the lower self, we run the risk of creating the same type of communities that we come from because we're not really ready yet. But when we're in that alignment, then we can take that next degree to the communal self. And I think that's something that it'll be beautiful. I think, especially in this day and time, with a lot of the knowledge and works that you're doing, and how you the steps that you create to compartmentalize it to help people to get there. We need to get to that level of communal self, and it's brothers and sisters like you that are focusing on that will help us get there and help us have sustainable communities instead of communities that collapse upon themselves because we haven't done that real work first.
Yeah, and to have sustainable communities, it really takes individuals who are willing and dedicated to do the work that it takes to do that.
Okay.
Um, to Mother Earth, we have a community here. You have a community where you are, and you've seen various individuals, different states of understanding within themselves, and so that's why I feel like integration and daily practices are important, because if we don't work towards moving ourselves forward, we're going to tend to slide back, because that's just a natural progress. So it's a
Mhm.
daily thing to be able to move yourself forward, because society will have a way to slide you back.
That's right.
So when you're in a collective with other individuals, we're all moving forward, it allows us to have more strength and endurance and
Yes,
support to be
that's
able
right.
to do in moving forward. So I think like these communities, these forums, these online conversations where the collective can come and gather is important. So thank you.
Yes, I appreciate that. And also the physical spaces, I would love to have you come down to Hawaii at some point and see what we're doing, and, share your reflections with the people in that space, because it's such a spiritual space. Just, we say Mother Earth, and that's a part of the Mother Earth that is still creating land. It's still creating land there via the volcanoes, and it has that primal nature. I mean, I'm not sure if you're into crystals. I imagine that you are, deal with crystals. And lava rock is one of those. Yes, right on. Lava rock is one of those things that bring peace and protection. And Hawaii is one big lava rock. And I say that's why there's such aloha there, because you can really feel that vibration as soon as you step off the plane. There's this level of peace. And so having those spaces and those power centers that and especially far removed from the societies that people come from that have that type of energy really helps, to help manifest the very things that you're talking about. So I'm sure at some point, we can figure out how that might work, so that yeah, we can collaborate. You can see what we're doing, we can see what you're doing, and again, it's about forming again, you have the individual sovereignty, you have the communal sovereignty, and we're going to have different customs and usages on how we get to that space. And we need that, because that we need that. But when we come together as creators, or pioneers, helping the custodians, helping to bring in that space, then we're able to create that more strength and that more powerful collective, and then still be able to have those micro collectives at the same time. In essence, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And what's been happening is ones have these their ideas, and then everybody, and unity means that everybody comes under that, and if they're not with that and with those customs, then we can't be unified. And that's one of the things that keeps us divided. So we have to understand that we can have our customs within our individuals communities, but we can also form councils and code of conduct where we can have greater interaction with one another, and be able to share ideas and share resources, import and export what actually works in a practical sense.
And thank you for that. I'll be honored to come and visit you in Hawaii. I was there. I was in Maui back in October. It was a very beautiful experience. I love Hawaii. And Temple Mother Earth is in the heart of DC. We're in Southeast DC. We're in the inner city. And I feel that all communal space is important because we have to meet people where they are. And right now, we're serving a community basically that look like us for us, and we're here to raise the consciousness. And when I say raise the consciousness, we focus on the sovereign self. And when I say sovereign self, it's all the way down to reclaiming who you are as a being, growing your own food, making your own deodorants, making your own soaps, like to that level, because then you know what you have and what you're. When you get something from someone else, it may not be made with the best quality. This vessel deserves all high quality products. So if you're giving me something, I don't know what's in there. That could be causing me more harm and damage in my future because I don't know. I know what you tell me, but what you tell me is not truthful. So being in sovereign self is not just with your food and the things that you're putting on your body or in your body, but honoring yourself through that journey. And so it takes a collective because everyone has different areas of focus. So like in our community, my husband and I are beekeepers, but there's someone else who knows how to grow the food. So they're more of the gardeners who grows the food, and someone else knows how to do the maintenance, and someone knows how to do that. So it goes back to establishing that tribal community setting where we really support each other and help each other. And the most important part is also growing our finances, our resources, our stability, and having that economic infrastructure together as a collective so that we can put ourselves into a better position and not be dependent on, let's say, the others.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We barking up the same tree. We have my wife, she makes the shea butters. I've been doing the crystal jewelry for like 15 years. I haven't worked for anybody. We've all been working for ourselves, me and my wife, for the past 15 years. We've developed various soaps, with the foundation of black soap cleaning solutions. shea butters, all natural air sprays. On the land, we have over 100 guava trees, and we live off the guavas during the season, and when it's not the season, we use the leaves. Guava leaves are very good for the silent killers, for the blood pressure and blood sugar. So being that we vend and we're out there, we're bartering all the time, so I get what you're saying. Sometimes we trade some soap for some oranges, and some vegetables. Someone will get a piece of jewelry, and we'll get whatever product that they have. um, you know Economically, having products to be able to trade with one another for ourselves, but it also has an economic impact too, by being able to barter with one another and helping one another out, holding workshops with one another. So, this is all part of that economic solution. And it's been a great opportunity. And when we were in Oakland, we opened up a restaurant, two cultural markets out there where we were feeding people good food, selling good products. Couple of vendors came together. I wasn't the only one. It was three other vendors. We came together and opened up a couple of markets that had, it was kind of like a marketplace, because what we did was we had individuals that had products. We would provide them a space, and we would just take consignment aside from our own things. So as we develop those products for ourselves, it also becomes a part of our economy to be able to for our community. So again, totally in alignment, and I'm looking forward to building with you all on in that regard.
Definitely.
Someone's asking, Grand Chic, for your website.
So the website, you can always go to Instagram, Cosmo Ill on Instagram, Cosmo Ill on Facebook, TikTok. But you can also go to prophetnoblejuali.org, and that's the website of the United Moorish Science Temple of America that usually we have a monthly national address where everyone addresses. I'm the last one that gives the final national address. We have events when events are coming up. We have our newspaper on there. We have literature, and you can kind of just keep in vein with the community as a whole, the United as a whole, but individually, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and probably Instagram and Facebook more so. You can just type in Cosmo Ill and it'll come up. Or also, I want to mention Amazon books. My books are on Amazon. So you can go to my author page on Amazon if you want to find some of my personal literature.
All right, great. So wonderful. Wow, I'm enjoying myself.
So,
Likewise,
Bay, I'd like to apologize to you for trying to censor you for the very thing I was doing, because I had no idea this was your show. Because generally, it's I thought I was being invited on by Hank for what we do on Tuesdays, and from the bottom of my heart, I do not wish to express ego, and I apologize to you, and I ask your forgiveness for that.
Oh, absolutely, brother. I greatly appreciate you, brother. It's an honor to have you. Thank you, Hank, for inviting him.
I gotta apologize to everybody because I didn't give my brother Laji an overview of, as far as what's happening on Moorish Monday. So Laji, please accept my apology for the inadequate introduction, because Laji was like ready to say, all right, listen, sheriff's in town and ain't no playing around. So, and then he was like, wait up, player. I'm the deputy of Monday. So, it's my apology to Abdullah El Talib Moshi Bey. My apology to Baba Laji, and my congratulations to Cosmo L for being on the platform. And thank you, Dr. Sanada Kamara, for fixing your video.
So
Because what I really Brother Abdullah, you know, I normally just sit in the background behind the curtains, but you had such power players here, and Brother Cosmo, you inspired everybody at Nicholas. Special acknowledgement to Kafunya, to Monique, to Coconut Rob. Everybody was like, whoa, did you hear that show yesterday? Because we wasn't expecting it, Cosmo L, and how it integrated into today's show. I had to call Brother Abdullah yesterday and say, man, Brother Man's from Hawaii. He's building a Hawaiian kingdom and you know, a Moorish presence. I gotta call the big dogs. You know, I gotta call the queens. I gotta call the kings because Baba Laji that's a work in progress. You know, whether it's Hawaii or Costa Rica or both. So I said we got a network. We got an Ubuntu, and Sunata, a Capricorn. She's sitting right here. She got her Temple Mother Earth established, and it ain't a wooden house, it's a brick house. So the three little piggies is safe up in there.
Right on.
Islam.
No,
I don't mean to talk haram, but you know.
So impressed with.
So I'm going backstage.
Backstage. And just the way you your humility and your presentation and then your wealth of knowledge, I'm so impressed. It's humbling, and I definitely want to come out to. And if I could get your, you can send me a list of books. I already wrote yours down before we first had our combat. Me and you, my good brother, Brother Bay, or my foolishness. I already wrote that down, so I could call you and get some information too. Because I mean, I'm very impressed with what you presented here today and the way you presented it, and from both of you brothers. And all I could really say is I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. This is powerful
attitude, Elder.
And it just seemed like off the cuff. It wasn't like you put the grand presentation, just like off the cuff. Just bam, 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 bam. Very impressive, my brother. Very impressive.
Infinite gratitude.
And I thought you was like in your 20s, maybe 27 when we talked yesterday. I thought you was, you know, I said, this is a young brother. Well, you know, I'll be glad to looking forward to seeing you today. But,
I'm young in spirit, brother.
And also just want to mention tomorrow we're going to have, listen to the name, El Hagan on Tuesday, Healing Circle Laji. And he's going to teach Dr. Sonata the Pisces area of influence, all about foot massage, foot reflexology, and special acknowledgement to Brother Dooley. He was talking about how you can remove through breath bunions, tumors, and things of sort. So, you know, we definitely swinging heavy in this Pisces season. So I want to thank you again, Brother Abdullah, for an excellent presentation, and the audience, all of your participation. Thank you, Babalaji. Thank you, Sonata, for getting your camera and stream right. And Cosmo L, do your thing, brother. I'm backstage again.
I do want to mention I appreciate all the love and support out here on the East Coast, especially Sister Monique, allowing us to share space with her at Nicholas Brooklyn bookstore, and Brother Abdullah Bay and Brother Ankh to allow me to share space with them via this platform. I'm honored to meet both of you, and you know, I look forward to continuing to build with you all and your communities in whatever form and fashion that you see fit. You know, I also want to mention that tomorrow I'll be at Black and Noble bookstore in Philly, doing the same thing that I did at Nicholas bookstore in Brooklyn. So if there's anyone out there, or if you know anybody, yourselves know of anybody that's in Philadelphia, I'll be there from 3 to 7 at Black and Noble bookstore. And if you're in town or around, I'd love to press hands with you and meet you in person. But if you have anybody like-minded that you know you think can benefit or aligns with the information that I'm sharing, then again, Black and Noble bookstore tomorrow, 3 to 7 will be an extension of what we're doing here.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Awesome. We'll try. We'll try to connect before you go to Black and Nobel, Grand Sheik.
All right.
So I'll see. I'll work out. Yeah. So we'll talk, and I'll see what my schedule is.
All right.
All right. Awesome. Well, this was an excellent presentation. I appreciate. Thank you, Hank, for inviting Brother Babalaji and Dr. Shanada to join us. You added much value to the today's program. So we have next week. Who's my guest for next week? Oh yes, Sister Luisa Flores will be my guest for next week. She was one of the keynote speakers of the May 18th Moorish Political Unity Conference. She will be my guest next week. That's Sister Luisa Flores will be my guest next week, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so she'll be talking about her 40 plus years of community outreach and experience, and also a paradigm shift and growth and development over the past couple years. As I've said, she was one of the keynote speakers of our Moorish Political Unity Conference on this past of last year, May 18th. So she's listening now, and she's also sent out the link to others. So looking forward to having her in the house, Sister Luisa Flores, next week. All right. So for those who are interested in getting my books, you see, for the past 2 hours, my website has been strolling across the screen, mooresandmasonry.org for Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary, Summit U1, the Masonic Compass Square, the connection, the measurement, the timekeeping, and the Illuminati and the illumination of mind. Go to mooresandmasonry.org. I want Brother Grand Sheik closes out with some departing words.
Again, I just want to extend sincere gratitude to all the love I'm receiving on the East Coast from those who have been allowing me to share space. My mission here is one of unity and hoping that we can heal the wounds of our community, especially within the Moorish community, because again, there's nothing that serious that has happened that we cannot resolve and move forward. A lot of Moors are focused on the past, and that past, albeit some of it negative, is affecting their future. But at some point we have to let go of the negativity of the past and begin to chart a course forward for the future. So I look forward to that. I think it's a new era of time now. And for those that wish to continue some of these conversations, I see some questions here that I didn't get a chance to answer. We will be presenting live at Black and Noble Bookstore. So perhaps I can answer some of those questions then. And with that, I close giving infinite gratitude and peace and love to all.
Peace, everyone. Next week, special guest, Sister Luisa Flores. Peace.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina amsa alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Wala dwalin. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sanada Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.